Scandal! Chinese spies have been caught in Kyiv. For the first time in history, Ukrainians have successfully stormed Russian positions using only robots. Explosions all over Russia, a successful attack by hundreds of Ukrainian drones, panic in the Kremlin. Panic. A mutiny in the Russian army in the 155th Brigade of the Russian Armed Forces. A real uprising. The soldiers turned against the officers. Weapons for Ukraine from the US are already on their way. Trump threatened Putin. Greetings. My name is Karina Klishuni. Right now, the main news. But first, like this video if you support Ukraine. And subscribe to our channel so we don't lose each other on YouTube.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine today. Join us now.
The Russians continue to push on the front. In particular, deep state analysts report that the enemy has advanced in such settlements as Kamyanske, Komarivka, Yablunivka, Toretsk, Kolodyazy, Zelenidol, Seredny and near Zaporizhzhia. Meanwhile, The Times, citing former Ukrainian Defense Minister Oleksiy Reznikov, writes that a quick end to the war is not expected. And Ukraine is no longer counting on it. However, the Russians are not only putting pressure on the front, the enemy continues to actively terrorize civilian cities with massive attacks. In particular, on the night of the 9th of July, Russia launched 728 drones and 13 missiles at Ukraine. Thank you. The Air Force reported that this is a new negative record for the number of targets launched at Ukraine. The main direction of the strike was Lutsk.
A business was damaged by debris from downed targets. And also in Volyn, the occupiers targeted the airfield, said Yuri Ihnat, head of the Air Force Communications Department.
Chancellor of Germany Friedrich Merz made a similar statement. He stated that diplomatic options in Ukraine have been completely exhausted. We need to act differently. That is why Ukrainian soldiers are demonstrating their strength. It was loud last night in Russia as well. In particular, in the Moscow region, Sheremetyevo airport was closed due to a drone attack. And there were explosions in Belgorod, Bryansk, Ryazan, Tula and other regions. Along with the air raid alerts, explosions were also heard. Russian soldiers in the temporarily occupied Luhansk region were also unsettled. The armed forces of Ukraine carried out an airstrike on a building where Russian soldiers were being treated. It was a good hit. While the Russians were terrorizing civilians in Ukraine, our defense forces delivered them instant karma. Well, that's just wonderful. Moreover, Ukrainian soldiers prevented the Russians from storming another position. Which section of the front this was has not been disclosed yet. But the soldiers of the Sky Fury unit showed how they destroyed all of the Russians' motor vehicles using drones. The Russians had gathered them for a future assault. So, with the help of drones, they located the building where the Russians were storing motorcycles and burned everything down. Thanks to this, the assault never happened, because the Russians had nothing to write on. Ukrainian soldiers are the best. Support them with a like and feel free to write some kind words for them in the comments. They will definitely see it. For the first time in history, Russians surrendered because of Ukrainian military ground robots. Soldiers from the 3rd Assault Brigade carried out an operation, attacked Russian positions in the Kharkiv region and captured Russians with the help of robots. Who are you? Tomorrow,
Bastards. That was a very powerful explosion. The first explosion was an argument that there would be a second one soon.
The second one, it's written there. We want what we want. Our main objective was to destroy that shelter, to eliminate the enemy's manpower. We decided to use FPV drones so that the FPV would fly in, clear the area, and then immediately the NRC with VNR would move in. We were already prepared. The NRC had already arrived at the supply point. As soon as the first FPV flew in, those guys from immediately, just like that. Well, basically the entrance to the dugout, and you could see something through the boards. That was our first time carrying out such an operation.
And the explosion with 3 anti-tank mines, that was a very powerful explosion.
The dugout wasn't completely destroyed. We received orders to hit it again. We drove up there and they realized we were going to blow it up again. They understood that it's better not to mess with us.
They saw the NRC and very quickly, somewhere, they found a piece of cardboard somewhere. I don't know where they got it from.
Well, yeah.
They even found something to write with.
On the cardboard, the Russians wrote, "We want to surrender." That's how the Ukrainian soldiers took them in. Without infantry and without losses, only with the help of robots and the desire to liberate their land. This is the first confirmed successful assault in modern warfare, carried out exclusively by unmanned platforms. Bravo! Putin's army shouts about liberating Ukrainians and about caring for them. But this is what that care really looks like. The year is 2025. The city of Maryinka in Donetsk region is completely destroyed. Only one woman lives there who returned to the ruins because Russia provided nothing for people to live normally. Further from the front line.
Here is Maryinka off to the side, just ruins left. I remember right now only one person lives here. A small area remains off to the side. We move on.
This is the true face of Putin and all Russians. Ruins and lost lives. A beautiful picture exists only on the television screens of Russians who continue to believe Kremlin propaganda. Ladies and gentlemen, this day has finally come. And Trump, as they say, has finally seen the light.
If you want to know the truth, Putin is dumping a pile of crap on us. Crap. He always seems so polite, but it turns out it's all empty. Want to impose sanctions on him? Graham has a bill for sanctions against Russia. Want him to be called out? I'm considering it. Yes, the Senate is passing a very tough sanctions bill. Yes, I'm considering it.
Yes, in the last few days, the White House's rhetoric regarding Ukraine has changed dramatically. Just recently, Trump stated that the U.S. will resume supplying weapons to Ukraine.
We want to provide defensive weapons because Putin, he has no respect for human life. He kills too many. So we are sending defensive weapons to Ukraine, and I have approved it.
Later, Trump stated that he had given the green light to a bill to strengthen sanctions against Russia, and is actively pushing for the introduction of a 10% tariff against BRICS countries.
A 10% tariff means India, Brazil, Russia. They will pay 10% if they're in BRICS. Yes, because BRICS was created to do harm. BRICS was created to devalue the dollar and strip it of its status as the world currency. If they want to play this game, I see it too. So every BRICS member will get a 10% tariff.
Besides that, Trump stated that, listen carefully, Putin would have captured Ukraine in 3 to 4 Dalton's wise, but Ukrainians were brave.
It turned out to be harder, but only harder. And I'll say Ukrainians were brave, but we gave them the best equipment. We gave them anti-tank weapons that destroyed tanks. That is, you aim at a tank, and the tank is gone. We gave them missiles, the newest and the best. They were able to shoot down a lot of things that would have otherwise destroyed everything. You know, this could have been a very quick war. It would have been a war that lasted 3 or 4 days, but they had the advantage of incredible equipment.
Trump also admitted that ending the war in Ukraine turned out to be not as simple as he had thought. Moreover, as it turned out, at a close meeting with donors back in 2024, Trump said that he had threatened Putin to destroy Moscow if Russia invaded Ukraine. Well, it looks like we have another shift in Trump's rhetoric. Let's hope this time it's final. And what do you think about this? Write your thoughts in the comments. By the way, Beijing also doesn't want to be left out of this war. The Security Service of Ukraine detained Chinese citizens who were collecting secret technologies for the production of Ukrainian Neptune missiles. They wanted to steal them and take them to China. One of the detainees is 24 years old. He is a former student of Kyiv Technical University. Back in 2023, he was expelled due to academic failure, but he continued to stay in the capital of Ukraine. The second person involved is this young man's father. The father lived in China, from where he directed his son's actions, but he would periodically come to Kyiv. To find secret documents, the young man tried to recruit a Ukrainian who was involved in the development of advanced weaponry. The young men were exposed at the very beginning of the operation and detained, caught red-handed. The spies have now been detained. They face up to 15 years in prison. Meanwhile, a major mutiny is brewing in the 155th Marine Brigade of the occupying army. The soldiers can no longer endure the lawlessness and horrific actions of their leadership. Details in our report.
We're bored. Stagnation. We want some action.
Putin talked about a double whammy, and his army made it a reality.
There are very fresh graves there. Not even any headstones or fences have been put up yet. The ground is still disturbed, and the air feels heavy with recent loss.
They remained silent at the start of Putin's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. But after 3 years, this brigade found itself on the verge of open mutiny, something the Kremlin greatly fears.
The commanders find ways to use you in order to accomplish their assigned task. No one would ever, under any circumstances, send a disabled person into an assault.
The soldiers are refusing to follow orders, including former members of the Wagner PMC. Everyone is openly rebelling.
Our boys did it. Well, that is truly terrible indeed.
We're talking about the Russian 155th Separate Marine Brigade.
But for some reason, no one there says who's in charge. Everything was lost, the 155th. 4 hamsters hit the target exactly.
The Ukrainian forces strike in the Kursk region on the 2nd of July eliminated almost the entire leadership of the 155th Brigade.
Please honor the memory of Mikhailo Khutkov and his fellow soldiers.
The Russians acknowledged the deaths during the strike. Major General Mikhailo Khutkov, deputy commander of the Russian Navy. He was the head of the 155th Brigade.
He died at his post.
A Russian officer, a true soldier of Russia, embodies the unwavering spirit and profound dedication that defines the nation's military might. This individual, a paragon of discipline and strategic acumen, stands as a testament to the rigorous training and deep-seated patriotism instilled within the armed forces. Their commitment to duty is absolute, reflecting a heritage of valor and an unyielding resolve to protect their homeland. The Marines, specifically the formidable Far Easterners, are renowned for their exceptional combat prowess and indomitable will. These elite units, forged in the crucible of demanding environments and rigorous training, exhibit a ferocity and tenacity in battle that is truly remarkable. They fight fiercely, with an intensity born of unwavering loyalty and a profound sense of purpose. Their bravery is not merely an absence of fear, but a conscious, resolute determination to confront and overcome any adversary, regardless of the odds. They advance boldly, with a confidence that stems from their superior training, their cohesive unit dynamics, and their deep understanding of tactical maneuvers. Their actions on the battlefield are characterized by a relentless pursuit of victory, demonstrating an unshakable resolve and an extraordinary capacity for endurance.
The Far Eastern Marines, in particular, are celebrated for their resilience and their ability to adapt to the most challenging conditions, making them a formidable force to be reckoned with in any engagement.
Their fighting spirit is a source of immense pride for Russia, showcasing the strength and unwavering commitment of its military personnel. Russian Federation constantly sends the Marine Brigade into mid-grander assaults under sniper fire. In 2023, during the battles near Vuhledar, after yet another assault, only about 8 people remained from the assault brigade. Many were taken prisoner. He acknowledged the 155th Marine Brigade.
There is no doubt that the objectives will be achieved.
After the start of the Ukrainian Armed Forces operation in the Kursk region, units of the 155th Brigade were redeployed towards Kursk.
After our arrival, the enemy no longer felt as comfortable as they did before. And when they found out that the 155th Brigade had arrived here, all small arms fire basically stopped clashes with us.
They stopped engaging. The 155th is notorious for its brutality and war crimes. They continued committing them on Russian territory as well.
If it weren't for the mines, we would have taken them out long ago. Wherever you go, it's either back to your own or very far away.
Russian soldiers from the 155th Brigade beheaded a Ukrainian prisoner of war. A video was also released showing soldiers from the brigade shooting 6 Ukrainian servicemen. The assault in Korshaina ended epically for the 155th. For the sake of a beautiful picture, the elite Marines, channeling 1,945, hung victory banners on their tanks. As a result, that same elite Russian 155th Marine Brigade didn't even make it to the first line of defense.
The 155th column, under red flags like in a parade, went head-on into a swarm of drones along a mined road. Don't rub your eyes. We wrote everything correctly. It was indeed under the red victory banners. It was indeed along a mined road. This isn't a planning mistake. It's slaughter and more slaughter.
The commanders blamed everything on foreign intelligence services without mentioning the botched operation. But not for long. Russian marine cutthroats surrendered to the Ukrainian armed forces in the Kursk region. At that time, the 155th Separate Marine Brigade of the Pacific Fleet was awarded the Order of Suvorov. Putin agreed to grant the Marines of the 155th the honorary title Kursk.
And later, the request would be granted, or as a token of gratitude for everything they do on the road.
The legendary Marines of the 155th Brigade of the Pacific Fleet are right now heading into our common war, breaking through and pushing back. The lands of my native Kursk region. And the enemy knows them, they know that the Varangians do not retreat.
While the command receives medals for brutality, Russia's 155th Marine Brigade could easily be considered the most ill-fated unit. During the full-scale war against Ukraine,
help will come not only from the United States. As Bloomberg reports, the European Union plans to create a €100 billion fund to provide long-term support for Ukraine, since Europe sees no signs of the Russian-Ukrainian war ending.
EU Commissioner for Economic Affairs Valdis Dombrovskis told journalists on Tuesday that we are currently indeed assessing and working on various options to ensure funding for the next year, adding that the bloc is ready to provide all the necessary support to Ukraine for as long as it takes.
If approved by the member states, funding will begin in 2028, which will ensure stable assistance to Ukraine. They are protecting not only Ukrainians, but also animals. Ukrainian soldiers showed how near Pokrovsk they rescued a deer that had gotten tangled in an anti-drone net.
We caught drones and we also caught a little fawn. Wait, hurry! Natalyan wouldn't have forgiven us. At least we saved one life, right? We're not orcs to just run things over. Come on, let's go. This is Pokrovsk, baby. Come on, be careful, be attentive.
This happened near Pokrovsk. With the words, at least we saved one life. Our soldiers are not just strong, but also an example to follow. Like this video to support what we do. And be sure to subscribe to our channel Ukraine Today so you don't miss the next episodes. See you!